And welcome to the Next Guy Up podcast, sponsored by Squeaky Chairs. Get your squeaky chair today. No, yeah, we were just making a joke how we all have like squeaky office chairs. We're going to start our own business where we create office chairs that don't squeak. So buy one at nextguyuppodcast.org.
Don't look it up.
.org.
The org is like
government funded, right?
Well, I remember when I used to have to write papers like in school, they were like, use a .net or .org, or, you know, you got in trouble if you used Wikipedia. I still probably did. But how's it going, everybody? Got a couple of mess around stuff, some food for thought. The boys are going to talk, obviously preview college games for the week. And we're going to go over, so the committee put out the playoffs. I want to know what their thoughts and opinions are, if it means anything, if it doesn't mean anything. So they're gonna talk about that, and then we might wrap up with a little bit of. We had some trades right at the end of a big day yesterday. You know, trade deadline in the NFL. So we are gonna break down a little bit NFL to the end. But how are we doing, guys? How's everybody doing?
The only important thing happening yesterday in this country was the trade deadline.
Trade deadline, correct.
According to Mason.
There's hockey on too.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's
no NBA.
Small school, no NBA. There's a little bit of college basketball on.
College basketball. There you go.
It's coming.
I know this might be a couple days late, but like Gonzaga blowing out Baylor and some of those like players getting dunked on. Every single year, I'm always like, oh, is Gonzaga like overrated or not in their college? I can never figure them out, because then what's going to happen in March Madness? They're more correct.
That's what they always do.
But they weren't playing like North Mexico State or some random like
Gonzaga always does schedule like really good out of conference when the season starts. Like they do.
They
like
kind of
Baylor,
have to.
Yeah, they have to, or else
it's their only chance to like play actual competition for the entire season. So if you don't schedule any early, you're not going to get any in.
Right. They normally get like 3 or 4, and then they always play in one of those, early season tournaments like the Maui or whatever. So Gonzaga always does that. But yeah, excited about college basketball starting up. We'll have some more stuff once it gets rolling a little bit. We'll kind of, got to collect some data.
Once some of those tournaments start happening where they truly do like warm-up games, kind of, where people are just playing, like no one's playing competitive games right now. The first competitive games will start like during those tournaments in Maui and stuff. That's when it starts getting fun and real. Like these are basically preseason games for most of the top 25.
Yeah. So hop in the Discord. I'll be giving picks out sporadically in there, so just make sure you got notifications on. Went 3-2 first night. That's all right. I mean, positive's positive, I suppose, but nothing crazy. We'll get there though. It'll be the best channel. If you're a gambler and listening to this podcast, that's the channel you want to be in, because that's the only sport I'm actually good at betting.
So I sent the guys a video. Somebody was doing a review of a Jimmy John's sandwich. We've not talked about this on the pod, right? Because I feel like sometimes I just, I already talk about something we've talked about, the Uncrustables. Did a repeat on that on accident, but we've not discussed this yet, right? They replaced the bread with something. Did you see this, Zach? A dill pickle.
Big old pickle.
So it's a big dill pickle cut in half, and then it's a sandwich. So it's got your meat, cheese, your vegetables, your pickle condiments, and then another slice of dill pickle.
Mm-hmm.
And Tinsley, would you try this?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, I have something to be honest about real quick. Last time I went to Jimmy John's, I was insanely disappointed.
Well, yeah, it's a sandwich. I think all sandwich places suck.
I spent like $20.
Unless they got the meal.
My sandwich was so small, like it was so disappointing. Anyways, this guy did it
when it's a small sandwich and then you're disappointed.
Yeah. Anyways,
you don't get what you pay for.
Yeah. We should get this guy on the pod. I don't even remember his name, but he did like a review.
Yeah, good luck. He's super viral.
Yeah.
Luke Tries Food. I think that's what his name was.
Which is crazy because I'm like, I feel like Tinsley's done similar. We're just missing the market somehow. But you just don't talk like he does, I guess.
He's been doing it for years.
Yeah, maybe we just got into
we got quick into enough. The content game a little late. We're gonna have to find the thing that makes us viral, and then we'll get all these followers. Like that's what he did.
I tried making pumpkin spice with coffee and actual cooking spices.
Got like 1,000 views. What you talking about?
That's something. Well, anyways, it did not look appetizing to me. He had trouble with it, and he gave it, which he was hating on it, and then he gave it a 6, which I didn't understand his rankings because you all know the Mason rankings. If I hated it that much, like I don't even think he could eat it, and he gave it finish it. It was not that.
It's called "Don't Burn Bridges" with potential.
Yeah. That's a good point, actually. I feel like we would
burn bridges trying food. Yeah, I'm pretty bad about saying stuff sucks. I've probably cost us a sponsor somewhere along the line.
The Taco Bell controversy with the account.
I'm gonna start tweeting at him every day. Do it. This is my new plan.
You track, but like you have to really exaggerate how many days it's been.
I think I'm gonna start it tomorrow, but say it's like day 500 of me tweeting at Taco Bell.
But then actually start doing it every single day.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I made that TikTok one day. I was like, this is like the 900th day I've tried using the app and it won't work.
I think you should start tweeting it at like big people, like big users, and just hope when somebody retweets it, and then you're good. It'll get resolved immediately.
You know what? I know who I'm gonna.
You need the people
tweet
to
at.
Someone that's maybe been on the pod. Wait, does he have a Twitter?
I don't know if Zach's got a Twitter or not. I need to hit him up again.
With Zach for whoever is curious there.
Oh yeah, Snack with Zach. He's a close personal friend of the program.
True.
It's true. Zach, you didn't answer the question. Yay or nay on the pickle bread? I guess
I'm good
it's
on
not
that.
actual bread. No, yeah.
I think I'm okay.
You're good. You'll pass.
I think we could.
You guys aren't big pickle guys.
Well, it just like I feel like that's too. He said it was too much, and I feel like that's where it's like too much.
I can eat a dill pickle, but that's a lot of pickle.
Like think about it. It was big enough to like replace the bread, and you know how much bread takes up. Like it's gonna
be like
bread's my favorite part of a sandwich. Are you kidding me?
Oh, what? That's the worst part.
Italian herbs and cheese. Chef's kiss.
Mm.
No, that's not the best bread. Huh?
The guy who used to work at Subway. Stop eating that.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right.
Don't eat there.
Don't
burn a bridge. Burn another bridge. Tell us what's in the.
It's all gross.
It's very expensive as well.
Yeah,
bring back the $5 foot long. Bring it back. Hashtag bring back the $5 foot long.
That's what it would take to get people to back in Subway.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's
not
never
this
going to happen.
economy.
Well, Panera, I leave there hungry and it's really expensive. So I feel like there is no good sandwich places. There's
not.
McAllister's
sandwich places suck.
I like the pick two from McAllister. We're totally off topic here.
But I'm never satisfied leaving a sub place.
You had a Philly cheesesteak, like a real one?
Not like a real one.
No, we messed up when we went to Pittsburgh, like Philadelphia. Well, we didn't go to Philadelphia, but when we were in the Pennsylvania area, we did not try to get a Philly cheesesteak for some reason.
I mean, it's pretty fire.
I want one.
They are good. I went to Philadelphia.
I want to get one.
Yeah. Stadium tour. Let's run one this season.
Eagles fans aren't nice. That's the thing.
I've heard. We'll have to probably dress up as Eagles fan and pose as our. Like as it's one of
funny,
them.
Though, if you're hated when you, it's a different experience.
It's
like when I went and watched the UT game in Florida. It's kind of fun being like the villain, like you're seen as the enemy, like across enemy lines, and it's kind of fun.
It is fun.
I don't know. When you're sensitive like me, like I got called so many names because we were standing and we were the only ones standing in the Pittsburgh game. And I was like wanting to cry because I was like, no one's ever called me that since high school. And they were like cussing at us and stuff.
Just laugh.
And yelling. Yeah, Tinsley was laughing. I was like, sensitive me. I was like, I'm scared. Because it was like some big burly guy like yelling in the.
I had a whole section of Colts fans staring at me because I was mocking them. We were leading. This is Urban Meyer year. His first game that I got to go see Trevor play in, and I was mocking all of them. I was like, "You guys are really going to lose to an Urban Meyer coach team. How does it feel to have Carson Wentz as your quarterback?" And everybody's like, "Shut up!" We don't even like him.
Wait, was that the game I went with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the drunk guy in front of us was like showing us all his bet slips.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Like, look at this parlay, bro.
Yeah.
Sick.
His dad owned the parking lot that we parked at and spent like $50 to park there. And so I was like, well, I know where he gets money from. Okay, so we got off topic there, obviously, but I had a couple of food for thoughts. I want to make sure I give you all plenty of time because I have a special history with Mason today. Did you know you were getting that? And it's free. You don't even have to pay for it. Yeah. So I have a reason of why I'm doing a history with Mason, but this isn't the reason why. If you want a Popeyes Cajun style turkey for Thanksgiving this year, go ahead and put in your orders now. You can literally go online and just look up Popeyes Cajun style turkey. They did this last year and it was a huge hit. It looks pretty good by
I'm sure
the CajunFix.popeyes.com. Apparently it can be delivered to your door.
Popeyes is it. Popeyes is
it. But look at that.
I need to try. Good. I don't know that I've ever actually eaten at Popeyes.
Wow, you're missing out. Oh, Tinsley's eyes are popping out of his head for everybody that can't see.
Zach,
Popeyes I know where the nearest one is to me.
Is hands down.
There's none in Knoxville.
Well, next time you come to Cookeville, guess where we're going.
No, he can't. No, the first time he eats at a Popeyes cannot be the Cookeville Popeyes. It's bad.
Where do we go then?
We need to take him down south to Louisiana. A Louisiana Popeyes. That's fine. That's a real one.
The Saints are selling their tickets for like $3. I'm sure we could go ahead and knock out a stadium tour while we're there.
Popeyes is my favorite. I think Popeyes is in my top 3 fast food restaurants.
Wow. I mean, there's some that are like close, but none that are actually like in my vicinity. I'd have to drive like 30 minutes to be at one, probably.
I'm gonna look up this website and see how much these cost
because it doesn't have go to Popeyes without me. That's I have to be there for this.
Do you think it's gonna be
through with the order?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, they got wings there. I've never tried the wings.
Oh, the wings, the sweet chili wings. Oh my gosh,
are they bone-in wings?
Yeah, they're bone-in, but they're the fried breading, so you get it's the crunch. The crunch is
fast food wings kind of scare me a little bit.
Yeah, but this is a chicken place.
Yeah.
So it won't let me pick up the turkey, but to have it delivered, the whole thing total is $99. Seems like a lot, and you still have to thaw it. Like it comes in frozen.
That's excessive.
So you have to thaw it and you have to cook it. So it doesn't like come in like, obviously it's not being shipped while it's like, but $99 and it can be yours. It feeds 8 to 12 people.
Or
it still looks good though.
Or I love turkey.
Yeah. I feel like we've talked about this in the past, so I don't want to redo things, but I can't tell if that's a hot take or not. Because I feel like you're not in between. You either love turkey or you hate it. Like you rather just eat ham.
I'm in between.
Well, never mind then.
I like both, but I like a turkey.
I go once a year. That's where I'm at.
That is not done in the oven. If you're oven baking a turkey, go away. Shout out my wife's family's Thanksgivings. They don't listen to this. It's fine.
What are you going to do? Are you going to smoke a turkey this year? Your smoker?
So the thing about Thanksgiving this year is I'm having a baby that Monday. So
don't worry about that.
I don't think we're doing Thanksgiving.
You're just skipping it?
Yeah.
So does everyone else. Thanksgiving erasure happens every year.
We're just going to have Thanksgiving in my house. Just us.
There you go.
Do some pizza.
Sick.
Hey, that's easy cleanup.
Yeah. It'll be whatever's the easiest because he will be 3-4 days old.
I will say that I feel like, and I noticed this during the COVID year because I talked to like patients and just anybody I know of, like the whole traditional, like you have to have turkey. I feel like it's kind of getting less and less every year. Like people are like, I'm just going to eat what I want. Like why buy a whole turkey, have all these leftovers I end up throwing away when I can just like make something I want. So
That'd be nice. Yeah. I wish our family tradition was like that, but instead it's nasty. Just Thanksgiving. They've ruined Thanksgiving for me.
Like my family did a shrimp boil one year just because we wanted to try something different. Like, it was fun.
Everything's always cold. Nothing's ever hot and fresh. It's like, oh yeah, it's been sitting for an hour. Now let's eat. It's like, what are we doing? Why?
Let's get
to the point where I microwave it. I'm like, I don't care anymore.
Let's get Morgan and her family on the podcast right now. Let's just air this out right now.
Nah.
Live confrontation.
Well, speaking of skipping Thanksgiving, Trader Joe's has already launched their annual, and they sell out every year, very famous advent calendars for $1.29. So my family, my aunt was
what is an advent calendar?
Yes, great question, Tins. If only someone was going to do a history with Mason. Okay,
so I hear that word and I'm just like, I don't know what that means.
Okay, so it originated from Germany. My aunt was from Germany, so we actually we had them like my whole childhood. And basically, what it is like a calendar, but it's made out of like paper, cardboard, like that in between. And it's perforated so you can just break open, but it's doors and it's like a picture of something. So it's like a Christmas house or something like that. And on one, which is December 1st, you open up a door and it has a piece of chocolate in it, but it's like molded like Santa Claus or an ornament and I know everybody's like, are you serious right now? It's literally like November and we're talking about this, but I just thought because it was being released in the Trader Joe's and it's a huge hit. But anyways, so you break open a door for each day, and it gives you something to look forward to as a kid. So that is an advent calendar. But now all the stores have caught on, and they do all these crazy advent calendars. So they do Legos, socks, perfume, makeup,
dog treats.
Dog treats. They do dog. Yeah. So and you open up a door for each day, and you can give your dog a dog treat or a toy or a small toy or something like that. So,
yep.
Is it time?
What if we release it, but it's podcast episodes?
Every single day of December?
Special episodes only.
One for every
day.
Like
a 5-7 minute episode?
No, 5 hour.
5 hours. Love it. Even better.
Monologue.
Mason. First Solo one is episode. Mason watching Schindler's List.
Live reactions to Schindler's List.
It'll
be electric.
That's only December 1st. You don't have to watch a movie for each day.
Yeah.
December 2nd is Mason breaking down the election.
If we got a legitimate sponsor to sponsor the podcast for me to do this, I would be that dedicated to do it. Like each day I did something. I'm not sure about a 4-hour movie every
day. I just found the Stripes pajamas. It's only Holocaust themed movies for all of December.
And breaking news, I just got us a sponsor. Morgan Tinsley Event Planning Company has put up $100 sponsor fee.
$100. Hey,
month of December.
All right, content is rolling out now.
Speaking of long movies to watch, I am watching Avatar: Way of Water. And I started it, 4 days ago, and I'm halfway through. So there we are. I'll give you my review when I get
10 minutes at a time.
What do you watch, like 25-minute episodes? That's how you're breaking it down, like you're watching The Office?
Like a Netflix show.
It's pretty good, actually. It's easier to watch it that way. Okay, history with Mason.
Do you take notes about the last thing you watched?
Usually I can remember. But it's only been 3 days. I mean, it took me 3 years to read the first Harry Potter. So. Oh my gosh. The Advent calendar is of German origin, like I just said, from the early 19th century. At the latest,
a lot going on in the 19th century in Germany.
Protestants began to mark the days of Advent either by burning a candle or for the day, or simply marking walls or doors aligned with chalk. A new practice of hanging a devotional image every day ultimately led to the creation of the first known handmade wooden Advent calendar in 1851. sometime in the earliest 20th century, either 1902 to 1908, depending on who you believe, the first printed advent calendar appeared, followed by Gerard. No, that's not how you say his name. Gerhard Lang's innovation of small doors in the 1920s. And thus, we see that the advent calendar was born.
He's like, let's have some small doors.
Others added short Bible verses behind the doors, along with traditional pictures from the 1930s. Lang's business closed shortly before the outbreak of war. Oh man, I have trouble with this word all the time. Subsequently, how do you say that word?
Subsequently?
There it is.
Okay.
Cardboard was rationed, and with a Nazi ban on printing calendars with images, the calendars disappeared and might have been done forever. But after the war ended, Richard Sellerman of Stuttgart, I don't know if I said that right, almost miraculously, there we go, obtained a permit from the U.S. officials to begin printing and selling the advent calendars again. How are we doing, everybody? Are we doing good?
You're saying of all the things that we lost in World War II, the worst one was almost the advent calendar?
Of all the terrible things, that was almost...
I didn't say it was the worst. I just said that was one of the things. Let's see. I lost my spot.
Mason, big advent calendar guy.
Calendars filled with chocolate.
We fought the war to get him back.
Calendars filled with chocolate began to appear in the 1950s, around the time that they also began to spread around the world. Eisenhower is sometimes credited with the American popularization of them, having been photographed while president opening them with his grandchildren. Today, they are a global phenomenon, even seen a boost in popularity in recent years, like we talked about with like socks, toys, you name it, they do the advent calendars. So that, I only messed up 3 words, is history with Mason. You didn't think you were going to get that in the early November?
No, I didn't. You're right.
I sure here we are.
I'm pretty sure Costco sells one with like alcohol in it. Which feels completely like we've lost the point of advent calendar.
Like we're just,
but it's like every day
someone was just
like
creative,
wine,
just made up a reason to drink.
Well, I literally said the first ones had like Bible verses behind them, and here we are. I looked at different ones.
Germans, big Bible guys.
There's one that has 24 different teas.
Teas?
Yeah, one that has jams, one that's got K-cups in it.
How you gonna have 20 different teas, guys? There's like 3 kinds of teas.
Lego friends, like I mentioned.
Iced.
There you go.
I mean, you can add your flavors all you
like.
And
unsweet.
Everybody, I'm just joking.
I think it's like the tea bags.
There's like black tea,
herbal tea, chai tea. That's 3. Because like sweet tea is made from black tea. So I don't know. I think I might. You know what? I think I'm right. There's only 3.
There's a Burt's Bees 12 days of lip balm advent calendar.
Socks, like I said. If you're going through a whole month's worth of advent calendar of chapstick, then Big Chapstick's got a hold of you, buddy.
There's the dog treats Zach was talking about. So there we go. I think we spent enough time on advent calendar.
Here's my thing about chapstick is it just dries out your lips to make you have to keep using chapstick. I never use chapstick. My lips are fine.
It's like people who don't use shampoo and they claim that their hair is better.
You're not supposed to wash your hair every day.
Yeah, sometimes I feel cleaner when I do that, though. I know it's not supposed to be.
You're washing the oils out of your hair.
Well, I guess that's. I
wash my hair like twice
here's
a
an
week.
idea. Mason, tell me if this exists.
Here's the Taste of Wine advent calendar you were talking about. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's go. Is there advent calendar with like Pokemon cards in it or trading cards? Because that could be fun. They could just, instead of packs, they could just put it in a little calendar thing and release it, and they can upcharge it and then sell it for more.
All right,
maybe we should start doing that.
Yeah, we should.
Zoom them up.
Well, we have to buy
what are we waiting for?
Pokemon cards.
Well, I know a guy. Shout out Kyle.
It's true.
I also know a guy. Perfect. All right. If you're listening to this, which I'm sure you are, our people will reach out to your people.
Who are our people? We're our own people.
Exactly. I know Tinsley's getting this one. The 12 Days of Cheese Advent Calendar. Literally. Also, how's that keep?
Mason said, I think we're done talking about Advent Calendar. That keep titties the name, and then after that.
No. I now want to know why do you why was I singled out about the cheese?
I don't know.
Cheese got to you?
I was just picking something random that I thought was really.
Is that what it is?
Salsas. No. There were sauces or hot sauces.
Hot sauces. Yep, I've seen those before. Candles that have Advent calendars.
For not by that.
Bacon.
There's only one kind. Come on, dude. What?
There's a bacon one. 12 Days of Bacon Advent Calendar.
People are out of control.
Look, it's chocolate. No, I don't know, but it's chocolate. Covered bacon. There's a candied bacon.
Covered. Okay.
Can't make this up, folks. All right, now I'm done.
This is the kind of dumb stuff I have to deliver on a daily basis.
If I have a job,
you're fighting for your life out there just so that somebody can get their Advent calendar bacon on time. Probably need to start ordering them now if you're getting those shipped, so Tinsley can bring them to your door. Okay, that's all I had. Thank you, everybody.
Very good.
College football, maybe playoffs.
College football.
Still want to know why you singled me out about the cheese.
I don't know.
I was just also like to know that.
It was just like a random.
What's that supposed to mean?
I didn't expect cheese to be on there.
Why? Why was that surprising to you? Cheese is a pretty common thing. The bacon, that's surprising.
That's surprising. Cheese was like, how's that work? Do you buy it in a refrigerated section? Hopefully it's not that like sealed fake cheese that I used to get when I was in high school with the beef jerky. That's probably taken 7 years off my life. Yeah. Okay. That's how we end the segment. Good work, everybody.
Are you ready for some college football playoff talk?
Yes, I'm so ready.
All right, folks. We have our first official college football playoff rankings. You know what that means? The AP poll is dead. Literally.
Bye.
I'm never talking about it again on this podcast because it's terrible anyways. So we have the full rankings now. 1 to 25. I've got a couple takes. Let's do some takes.
Let's do some takes.
First take. I think only teams with
copyrighted first take.
Got them. Only teams that have a realistic shot at making the playoffs should be included in this ranking. I think if you're statistically eliminated, like 0.001% chance of making it, why are we even? Who cares if it's 25 teams? It should only be as many teams that are actually eligible at this point. That's my first take.
I like that. It doesn't have
to be 25 just because the AP poll does it. Well, we don't have to be the same. Only 12 teams are making it anyways. So really, I think the more interesting piece of this puzzle is going to be taking what the ranking, and they said if the season ended today, here would be the bracket. So I think we should start here, Tins.
All right.
Discussing what the bracket looks like, discussing what it teaches us about what the playoff committee is doing, and seeing what we can glean from this information. So really, this playoff is going to be divided into 3 sections. You've got your top 4 seeds, which obviously have byes. Your next 4, 5 through 8, which are going to have home field in the first round. And then your 9 through 12 teams, which will be on the road in the first round. That will likely consist of your G5 team and then your other at-large. Well, obviously, those are your lower tier at-large bids. So those would be the ones that would be the most competitive. Probably your 2 lost teams are going to land there at 9, 10, 11, maybe 8. But that's kind of where we're landing here. So in this playoff projection so far, top 4 teams who they're projecting to be the conference championship winners: Oregon, Georgia, Miami, BYU. Okay, let's say a couple things here. A Georgia team that has a loss, obviously, is above, presumably, a Miami and BYU team that are undefeated. That tells me that the playoff committee is going to value. I think realistically, unless something crazy happens, the SEC championship or SEC champion and Big Ten championship will be your 1 and 2 seeds in the tournament, unless something crazy happens. Do you tend to agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, unless I think the only way that doesn't turn out to be true is if Georgia were to lose in the SEC championship game and say like Texas or A&M or somebody like that, someone else who wins it, then I could see Miami jumping them. I think even a 1-loss Oregon will stay. Like if they lose their conference championship game. All
You
right,
don't
no.
think Texas would be a 2 seed?
No, I don't think so. I think they would get to 3 and they would bump Miami up if Miami were to finish, because Miami at that point would be undefeated. Because I just don't see them losing in the regular season.
True.
Their schedule is pretty weak here out.
So 5 through 8. Then they're hosting playoff games would be Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, and Tennessee. It seems like these are that 5 and 6 are presumably going to the losers of the Big Ten and SEC championship game. In this ranking, it would be like Ohio State loses to Oregon, they drop to 5. Texas drops to Georgia, they drop to 6. So for what the playoff committee is doing here, it really seems like they are dropping the SEC championship losers, Big Ten championship losers into that 5 and 6 slot, which for my money are maybe the most valuable slots on the board overall.
For sure.
Especially 5. I think 5 is by far
the money spot.
Most glamorous position. I think some teams, no one's actually going to do this, but I think there's an argument that if you're in the Big Ten championship game or SEC championship game, it would almost be advantageous to lose. That would be
to get
insane.
That 5th spot.
But the 5th spot, I think, it's your path. Let's talk about why. It's because the 5th spot is playing the 12th spot in the first round, which will almost assuredly be the G5 spot, which looks like Boise State. Boise State is a frisky team. They're not a bad team.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, obviously we know what they are. They're Ashton Genty and then a lot of other people who play decent football.
Yeah. No, they're solid. Like they're not a team you like want to play, but at the same time, it's better than going up against Alabama or even Notre Dame. I know we don't like Notre Dame, but they do legitimately have a very good defense. I don't want to you just don't want to deal with them. At the end of the day, you should have more 5-star and 4-star recruits than Boise State as the 5 seed. That you should be able to handle that
for sure. So they play the 12 seed, which is big in the first round, but then the even bigger, I think, is you're playing the 4 seed in the quarterfinals, which in this projection is BYU. I think practically we're talking about this is probably going to be the Big 12 winner.
Yeah.
Presumably. Versus a path like Tennessee at the 8th seed, who has to play Indiana and then Oregon in the second round potentially. Right. Which obviously is just a much, much tougher path. The difference between playing BYU in the second round and playing Oregon in the second round is extremely drastic. And so that's why the gap between like a 5 and an 8 seed is pretty significant as to your path towards the Final Four, the semifinals.
I legitimately think the 2 seed has the best, that's where you'd want to be as far as the 1 through 4 seeds. because you're
Probably.
getting the third place team out of the Big Ten or SEC, just depending on how they seed that, and then you're getting the second. Like they have Notre Dame in there. I don't know. That's probably pretty locked up with Notre Dame, don't you think?
As a
I
10
don't see,
seed?
right, like I don't see how much more Notre Dame can go up or down.
They play Florida State this week, who stinks.
I mean, I guess if they lose,
That'd be
then
electric.
that would be awesome.
But they play Florida State and they play Army, which are, I mean,
have they already played USC?
Do they play USC?
Don't know. I think they normally have them on the schedule, but maybe not this year. They're big rivals for some reason. Not that USC is any good.
True. Yeah, I can check. I don't know. I know
Florida State, Virginia, Army, and USC at the very end.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, USC's not looking great, but could do something crazy there.
Something there. Well, that's the other thing. So, who would take that? So, say Notre Dame loses that game. Do we get a second Big 12 team in? Or, because we're only going to get one G5, right? Like a UNLV is not going to sneak in here or something like that.
I think the only way you would get more than one is if there were multiple undefeated like conference champions, but I don't think that's going to happen.
It can't. Well, I guess, yeah, because Miami and
if it's like a MAC
Oregon
plus
are the only
like
two.
Atlantic or whatever, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
I don't think there's really any undefeated teams at this point.
The American or
Memphis is lost. So has UNLV. Obviously, has lost a couple now. I mean, I think Boise State is the team.
Yeah, it should be the only one. Okay. Still, yeah. There's a lot still kind of floating around there, but I'm glad we finally got the first one. It's nice to see. I do like seeing more than 4 teams, and it kind of clears up some of the stuff that we've been talking about. Some paths.
Yeah, I think notably SMU is there at 13.
Yeah, they're lurking.
They're leaving the door open there for what would happen if
they go undefeated and then lose in the conference championship game.
Yeah, they're just sneaking there enough to leave some doubt. You also have three SEC teams sitting right outside the rankings. A&M, LSU, and Ole Miss are all at 14, 15, and 16. And so they are right there to jump up if someone gets booted out. Which we've talked about how Alabama, LSU play this weekend. Ole Miss, Georgia play. And so somebody's getting knocked down out of that list, potentially. Colorado is there at 20.
Yeah, Colorado definitely has a path to get in as far as winning their conference because they are. So. Yeah, that's the only way they're getting in. But that's not out of the question.
It's not, for sure. Big 12 is wild.
A Colorado team could be hosting, be a top 4 seed.
Oh my gosh,
that's a real life possibility.
I would love to play Colorado. That'd be awesome. Yeah, pretty interesting. Obviously, you're looking at Oregon at number 1, the undefeated team there. Ohio State and Georgia, both 1-loss teams, and then comes Miami, the other undefeated team. 1-loss Texas, 1-loss Penn State, 1-loss Tennessee. Undefeated Indiana at number 8. Obviously, a pretty soft strength of schedule. Undefeated BYU at 9. 1-loss Notre Dame at 10. Huh. Wild stuff there. And then you have Alabama is your first 2-loss team on the board.
So, I mean, obviously,
everyone's shocked by that.
Right. If Alabama loses this weekend to LSU, obviously they're done. Does that move who does that help the most? Do we see SMU next week crack into that spot, or do you think at Texas A&M, which kind of their 2 losses too, only one in the SEC, they're firmly still in that race to play in the SEC championship game?
Yeah, I think
How do you see that playing
Alabama
out?
and LSU would just swap places probably.
Okay. Yeah,
It
because
kind of seems
LSU
like
just has 2 losses, right?
yeah.
Okay.
It kind of seems like the playoff ranking is agreeing with some of our takes along the season of 4 SEC, 4 Big 10,
Mm-hmm.
ACC, Big 12, G5, and Notre Dame,
Notre Dame.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is
Wow, it's like we know ball.
literally exactly how they've laid this out for us. I would be kind of shocked if it doesn't go that way. Like I said, the only way it doesn't go that way is if the ACC can get 2 teams in, which would be Miami losing in the ACC championship, and then the committee being
but it would
forced
have
to
to
put
be
like
SMU.
and Miami in, and then the
Right.
SEC would probably get a team kicked out, a 2-loss team kicked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's the only. Cause I mean, like say, well, yeah, no, yeah, the ACC's still. I don't know. It feels wrapped up, but at the same time, I don't know. Something tells me like
Pittsburgh is lurking.
SMU to like do the thing.
Louisville is down there as well. I mean, they're Louisville, Clemson. Those are some 2-loss teams that are still kind of lurking if there's some chaos with SMU.
Because Louisville lost to, I don't know who they lost to, or they lost to Miami and Notre Dame. So they only have 1 ACC loss. That's the thing about the ACC is they all only have 1 loss in conference. Because Clemson lost to Georgia and then now Louisville. SMU's only loss was to BYU. Pitt's only loss was against SMU.
Yep.
So they're all those teams are just kind of like tricky enough.
A little bit.
Yeah.
SMU and Clemson both on bye week this week. No, Clemson does not. Clemson plays Virginia Tech. I'm sorry. SMU's on bye.
I don't know. I just don't like the only thing. I just wish Notre Dame wasn't in there. I know they're going to be, but
if they lose, they're out. I think.
Yeah,
so
but
we can all hope for that.
I mean, Florida State could do the funniest thing ever.
Truly, it would be the funniest thing ever. I mean, I wouldn't mind playing Notre Dame in the first round if it came to that.
I don't know. We've said a lot of things about Notre Dame. That'd be a tough pill to swallow.
I would have to dance on their grave.
Who would you want to see the most besides, it seems like Boise State, but who would you want to see the most that UT has to play?
I mean, Indiana's intriguing because we simply just don't really know what that team is about yet.
I don't want no part of it.
Tens is scared of Notre Dame. I'm less scared.
No, I don't want Indiana.
Oh, I meant in Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
I'm not super scared of Indiana. I think they're good. I also think everyone looks good against the competition that they're playing. It's just so hard to tell. Who knows?
Sometimes teams with lightning in a bottle, you don't want to be the team that tries to end that. That's my theory.
True.
Do you want Colorado the most?
I mean, if Colorado's there, I would take Colorado, but they would be a bye week probably if they make it.
Yeah.
For the pure matchups in like history, I would not mind playing Penn State or Notre Dame. Both of those would be very fun matchups with a lot of history in those programs, and I think that would be fun. I think Tennessee could match up against either of those programs and play well. I think Tennessee's defense would be a nightmare for Notre Dame's or for Penn State's offense. And
yeah, I mean, Ohio State's defense was a nightmare for Penn State's offense.
Right. I don't know. There's a lot of matchups I wouldn't really mind having in that first round. Some fun matchups will be had for sure. I would just like to be there personally. That's where I'm at.
That would be pretty electric.
That was a good bit of playoff talk there. Do we want to quickly preview games? Do you guys want to do NFL first? Where are we at?
We can preview games real quick and then we'll just wrap up with some NFL.
Yeah, I just had a little bit, some winners and losers, and maybe one. Yep.
Okay, we have some elimination games this weekend, folks. We already mentioned one, but let's just go ahead and start with it. Let's do LSU Bama first. This is, as far as I'm concerned, a true elimination game. I think whoever loses it is out of playoff contention, which makes this a very, very interesting matchup in Death Valley. Two teams that have potential, but both teams are flawed in some ways. The quarterback position is for both teams has been very hot and cold throughout the season. I think this is gonna be a fun game. I'm excited to watch it because I think it's going to be both teams. There's something special about a team fighting for their life. Both teams know that their season's on the line here, and so I think that in itself is going to make for a pretty incredible atmosphere. Death Valley at night. We know what that looks like. We know that Jalen Milroe struggled in Neyland at night with the lights, and that team committed a lot of penalties. I think that narrative could hold, but I also think LSU has been pretty inconsistent as well. So two teams I think have a very high ceiling, but also we've seen a pretty low floor at times this season from these teams. Tins, what do you think about that matchup?
Yeah, I think there's gonna be points. That's for sure. I love the over. It is at 58.5. I love that. Nussmeier has placed himself as a potential first round draft pick at quarterback with his play this year. So I think I kind of lean LSU. It's a home game. Their offense can score. I think Bama can kind of, I don't know. They're a two-man show. It's Jaden Milroe and Ryan Williams. That's really it. They don't have anything else really going for them. And LSU has a lot on the offensive side of the ball. Caden Durham is a true freshman running back who has taken over the backfield. They always have wide receivers, but Kyron Lacey, who's going to be a top 15 draft pick, is really getting rolling. His chemistry with Nussmeier has taken off. I mean, he has 600 yards and 6 touchdowns on 41 catches this year. I think he's going to get going against this really kind of weak Bama secondary. They got a good defensive line, but LSU has one of the better offensive lines in the country. So I do think LSU is going to be able to kind of do what they want a little bit more. And I think we've seen Alabama struggle because, like you said, they struggled at Neyland at night. I think we'll see some more of that. They're not a very disciplined Nick Saban team. They commit a lot of silly penalties. And Death Valley is a rocking place on a Saturday night. I don't think I'd be wanting to walk in there and not be super disciplined, and false starts and things like that are going to be early and often. So I'm gonna take LSU.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I started off this season saying I thought Bama was going to go 9-3, miss a playoff. I think this is it. I think LSU. I think this team, like you said, is just not what we come to expect from Alabama teams. The line is +3 LSU right now, -3 Bama. I think this LSU team is not great, but also I think this Alabama is not a great team either. Yeah. I think it's going to be a very fun game, but I think LSU wins. I agree. Excited for it, though.
As much as I don't like Brian Kelly. I don't think he's a great coach by any means, but I do think he will. I don't know. I think he'll have the boys ready. He's got enough of his own recruits now where these are his guys. And Kellen DeBoer, I mean, this is just not the same level of Alabama talent that we're used to. Playmaker-wise, defensive back-wise. So I think LSU just has the advantage there. And we'll see. I think that'll be what causes, the game to kind of flip. Is Jaden Milroe is going to have to try and do everything. He'll have to be Superman if they win this game. He'll have to do it with his legs. And Ryan Williams will have to have a career day. But I think LSU just kind of has a little bit more firepower.
That first quarter against Georgia still just sits in my brain. It's like, man, what if? They just come out and
that's true. It can always happen.
Guns blazing. Well, speaking of Georgia, the other premier matchup we have this weekend is honestly a very similar storyline, a very similar build-up. We have a top team who is used to being at the top playing on the road against a contender, a team that is fighting for their playoff life in Ole Miss. Georgia on the road at Ole Miss. An Ole Miss team that has looked sluggish, but has looked better as of late. Boat raced Arkansas last week. An Arkansas team that we know has been frisky at times. Did not play around in that game at all.
Jackson Dart threw for like 500 yards.
Yeah, I mean, their offense is alive, and we know that their offense can be explosive. And it's a Georgia team who struggled against Florida for much of the game, even with the backup quarterback in. Third-string quarterback, really. And Florida, a Georgia team who has not looked like the dominant force. I mean, they've been up and down. Obviously, against Texas, they look dominant. And then they've also looked against Mississippi State, and Florida just looked like a kind of not that
average
dominant
good
force.
team.
Yeah, I mean, a good team, but not like that top tier that we're used to seeing them at. This is another very, very intriguing matchup here. Georgia is 2.5-point favorites on the road, and what will be a good environment at Ole Miss. Ole Miss fighting for their season, potentially. A win would definitely propel them back up into that conversation. A loss eliminates them, essentially. Tins, do you have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, going into the season, I was really high on this Ole Miss team, and I've watched them way too much to believe in them. I don't think they've got the kind of offensive line to deal with what Georgia has. I think since Walker has come back, yes, Georgia has not looked great. I think that's more on the offense, Carson Beck being terrible.
Yeah.
I think if they lean on the run game and count on their defense. Another thing, too, was that Florida game last week was half their secondary was out for suspension for targeting in the Texas game. So you had your two starting safeties and like a third string like corner who plays a lot were all out for the first half of the Florida game. So, I don't know. I'm going to believe in the team that's consistently good, and that's Georgia, instead of the streaky, hot, cold, depends on can my quarterback throw for 500 yards against an Arkansas team that just, I mean, they're frisky, but I just don't think they had the kind of secondary to keep up with what Ole Miss was going on. I mean, Jackson Dart's good. I think he's a good quarterback, but Georgia's defensive line is not like they're not playing Arkansas this week. They're not playing Missouri or teams like that. Like Georgia's defensive line is all those guys are going to play in the NFL. So that's just what they do. So I'll take Georgia as a road favorite.
Okay,
I like the under as well.
So you're taking Georgia and LSU.
Yeah, I think Georgia just makes the game ugly.
I think that's the best case scenario for Tennessee, honestly. So
like 17-7 kind of deal. Ugh. Yeah, I like the under, even though I don't take college unders anymore, according to what I said in the Discord that one day.
Okay, we've got two games we're gonna run through pretty quick here. Next up, we have Colorado versus Tinsley's official team of the year, Texas Tech.
No, that was last year.
Had the over.
You certainly bet on them a few times this year.
Yeah, but I bet them to win their conference last year, and they Texas Tech. I can't quit them. I mean, you're right. I do keep betting on them. I love betting on Texas Tech.
So this is a Colorado team that we've mentioned has 2 losses. At this point, they are working towards that Big 12 championship game. They are on their way to that. I think if they win out, there is a very, very high chance that they end up in that Big 12 championship game. They're currently ranked number 20 in the nation. and they are 3.5-point favorites on the road against Texas Tech. That's become a little bit of a trend today. Both their losses are pretty good as well. And so pretty interesting matchup here. Tinge, you got anything?
Yeah, it's Colorado. I love this Texas Tech team. I want to take them right here. But here's the thing. Emotional high of defeating Iowa State last week, undefeated team, comeback victory. The lead changed back and forth a couple times. That's great. It's a great story. The boys are really going to be feeling themselves like, oh, we're still in contention to win the Big 12. We want to shut up Colorado, who's the team that talks a lot and does all that stuff. Texas Tech does not have a defense. They're very bad. And as much hate as we want to give Colorado, Shedeur Sanders is a very good quarterback. Travis Hunter is a Heisman candidate.
Definitely.
J.C. Horn's son is an NFL future wide receiver for Colorado as well. So I think they're just gonna. I honestly think it could get ugly. Texas Tech is a very Jekyll and Hyde kind of team. If their offense, if they can't start scoring points, it gets bad quick. This is a team that lost 59-35 against Baylor. This is a team that let Alberine Christian score 51 points on them to win. Texas Tech won 52-51. Like
a lot of points.
Right. This team is just, it's like going through and looking at their scores. I'm like, yeah, no, there's no way I trust Texas Tech to do what they're supposed to do. So this is definitely Colorado. Everyone's going to bet on Texas Tech because, this is the home team. They just beat undefeated Iowa State last week. This is perfect Texas Tech money line. Like they're going to be they're the trendy money line underdog this week, and they're going to get beat bad.
Heard it here first, folks.
Heard it here. And I hate saying that because I love Texas Tech. I'm a big Red Rider guy. Or Red, what are they? Raiders.
Okay. Lastly, we have some upset potential here in the Big Ten. We have Washington at Penn State. How many big games is Penn State going to play at home this season? I think that's been a trend as well. It seems like their conferences did a little bit of moving some things around to make sure that
Penn State got some shine.
The biggest teams are playing their biggest games at home. Don't know how that works out, but Washington, they're 4-4 on the season. They have been very up and down. They've had some huge wins, played some big games. They've also looked very bad at times. They're one of those teams that just is kind of hard to predict. They are very far away from Washington, obviously, going all the way to Pennsylvania. What a road trip that's going to be, or a flight. I mean, that's a long way to travel. We've tracked this year so far that traveling that far does not typically have very good results. Say what you want about Happy Valley, but it is a tough place to play.
Yeah.
Whiteout. Any chance Washington can win here? Whiteout.
It's a whiteout. It's Penn State at night. They just lost to Ohio State. Give me Washington.
Wow.
I'll take the points. I'll take 13.5 all day.
A lot of points.
But Washington, I'll go ahead. For anyone who's not in the Discord yet, you need to join to get the other two legs. But Washington will be in this is the first one, the official one-eyed, stinky farm dog parlay of the week. Washington is the first leg.
Love that. I think there's a good chance Washington can make this one dirty. Let down potential here for Penn State. I don't know that Penn State loses. I don't know Washington's got the kind of firepower to win in that environment, but I think they can be close. It can be a gross game.
I think they make it really
Penn
gross.
State's offense famously just not very good ever.
Yeah.
Drew Aller still not 100%.
Yep.
Couldn't score from the 2-yard line multiple occasions last week.
Yeah, scored 0 offensive touchdowns. And Washington, I mean, Will Rogers been playing college football for a long time down at Mississippi State. This is his last year. Jed Fish took this Washington job, in my opinion, to step stool to a bigger job after this. This could be a nice little resume booster. He could have the boys fired up. He's a good coach. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, no, I think Penn State's on upset alert here. I think it's just like a sleepy spot. Like, okay, we lost to Ohio State last week. Now we have Washington. We're going to run through them. It's like, well, I don't know. Sometimes the stinky one-eyed farm dog catches you and bites you right on the butt.
I like that parlay name.
Thank you. I try to do a new one each week.
You should just keep adding stuff to it every week.
Last week's was the three-legged porch hound dog. All three legs lost, so that name sucks. That one's out. I've had multiple weeks of 2-1 on the underdog parlay. Close.
So close. Okay. We've got a fun week of football ahead of us, of college.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to hit some NFL news?
Let's hit it.
Yep, I'm ready. Big week in the NFL. We've been talking about it for like 2 weeks now, but most amount of trades I've seen in season. Like we talked about, I think it just shows a lot of teams see their window is open and they're going for it. I think there were some winners. I think there were some losers. Mason, what you got?
Yeah, let's get down to it. So I hope I'm not sniping you on these because we didn't discuss this beforehand.
That's good.
But I have 2 winners, one the day of, and then one that was a little earlier and or like a couple weeks ago, type of situation. Just one through the season, and then I have a loser, but I feel like it's a popular loser. So just to tease that. But my day of winner is Marshawn Lattimore to the Commanders. Commanders probably found themselves in a shocking position to actually be buyers. You can kind of tell with certain teams, the Panthers are selling, and the Titans are selling. Certain teams that you could just tell the season's over, and so this was one that they were actually buyers for. Marshawn Lattimore, a cornerback that it just helps their defense even. I'm not really seeing that much issues when I've watched them, but they're still in the shootout. A lot of their games have been shootout to where their defense could be a little bit better. So that'd be my winner the day of. Go ahead, so we can kind of go back and forth. What was one of your winners that you had?
Yeah, no, I love that Marshawn Lattimore trade. That's huge for Washington, who is competing to win that division. Shores up a spot that they're kind of shaky at right now. The former first-round pick, Emmanuel Forbes, has not worked out for them. Just not a very good scheme fit. Marshawn Lattimore, what Dan Quinn's done with that defense is you can make jokes about all you want as far as his defense would be rocking in 2018 because that's when a lot of these guys were in their primes, like Bobby Wagner and Dante Fowler and stuff, but Austin Eckler on the offensive side. But they're performing well. 15 free agents as starters on the team. That's pretty impressive to have them where they're at. I think it just fully shows that Washington is all in, doing what you're supposed to do. When you have a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract, go after it. If you catch lightning in a bottle, NFC's kind of weak. So I love what Washington's doing. One of my winners was the Steelers. Trading for Mike Williams, which Russell Wilson loves throwing the ball deep. I think Mike Williams was just not a fit in the West Coast style offense that Nathaniel Hackett runs and for the Jets. Mike Williams is a deep threat, big body wide receiver. That's going to work well with what they've got going on in Pittsburgh, who is very active. They were trying to trade for Christian Kirk to kind of lock down the slot until he broke his collarbone. So adding Mike Williams with George Pickens, that's going to, they're going to keep doing this vertical offense. And then they also traded for Packers defensive lineman Preston Smith, who was just kind of unhappy with the team and asked for a trade. He's still a very good pass rusher. And when you can add a guy who's a former first-round pick who has a lot of talent and just kind of add him to a defensive line that already has TJ Watt, Highsmith, Cam Hayward, and there's one more guy for the Steelers from Wisconsin. I can't think of his name. He's the other defensive end. He's got like a weird name, but him and TJ like lead the league in pressures right now.
Yeah,
as a duo. So add Preston Smith to that, and you're adding depth to a spot like you were already very good at. So I think the Steelers know, like, hey, we can, like the AFC, like we've talked about the Chiefs being a little bit down. which is funny to say because they're 8-0, but they're not, they're not winning in Chiefs fashion. I think the AFC, there's a couple teams that feel like, hey, we've got a shot at this, and the Steelers are one of them. And they're one of the better coach teams in the league. They added a piece on each side of the ball, and they could be dangerous. I do think the Steelers are a little bit dangerous right now.
And it's funny that we brought up both of these teams because they play each other this Sunday. This is probably one of my more favorite matchups to watch for this week, just because it's two teams that I don't think a whole lot of people expected to be with the records that they have so far. So I had a couple of things. Washington is looking to start 8-2 for the first time since 1986. And the Commanders are looking to start 5-0 at home for the first time since 1991.
Wow.
So some fun little random stats there. I find myself kind of rooting for them just because we talked about this before, but I was high on Jane Daniels during the offseason, and for a Commanders team that's had a lot of bad seasons, just like the Lions, it's kind of nice to see a change there, So my last, just real quick, I said I had two winners and a loser. The winner was the other winner I was going to say is every team just needs to make a pact to stop making the Chiefs better. Of course, I'm over here trading DeAndre Hopkins in my fantasy team the morning of he gets traded to the Chiefs. And I was like, I felt pretty smart with it because the first week he didn't do anything, but he was just getting part of the offense. And then the next week he catches 2 touchdowns. And is what he should have been treated with the Titans, which is he's a big red zone threat. He makes these athletic, crazy catches. But that was my winner, and then my loser is just the obvious that everybody is talking about. So I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it's just the Mingo. I just forgot his first name. Everybody's been talking
Jonathan
about
Mingo.
Jonathan Mingo to the Cowboys. We talked about teams that should be sellers and that are actually selling, and they just for a team, and he's on his last year of his contract, right? So he could just go anywhere after this. So it's like, why did you buy into a young developing wide receiver that's not had a single touchdown, 500 yards for a 4th rounder when everybody else is giving 5th rounders to DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Williams, so on and so forth. So everybody's head scratching at that. So I didn't want to repeat the media 5 billion times, but
but what are the Cowboys doing? What are the Cowboys doing? The season's done.
Yeah.
Dak's on IR. So they're obviously done. McCarthy's going to get fired. But where do the Cowboys go from here? Because now that you paid Dak and CD and their offensive line,
all they can afford is washed up running like Ezekiel Elliott and Cook.
Yeah, with as much money as they have in the offensive line, legitimately, Micah Parsons could be a free agent after next year. That's big. They've already paid the corner. His last name's White, right? No, Diggs. Stephon Diggs' little brother.
Trayvon.
So I don't know. Cowboys, I just don't know where they're going. I hate to see it. I hate to see such a great historic team do something really dumb, like trade a 4th round draft pick. I like Jonathan Mingo. I think he could be a good receiver. He's never really had a chance with the Panthers because they suck. But I like Jonathan Mingo. But why give up a 4th round pick?
Just save your 4th round. I know.
Yeah. Save the pick because what are you doing this year?
Nothing.
Yeah. Season's done. Cooper Rush is your starting quarterback for the next 4 games. You're cooked.
You're cooked. Was that your loser as well, if you had one?
No, my loser was the Jags because we tried. So we had some offers for Travis Etienne. Christian Kirk was obviously going to get. Well, they were trying to trade him. Turns out they were told to not take any more trades because Tony Khan, who is the son, he runs he kind of helps with football operation stuff. So he told our GM, "We're not trading any more players right now, please." I think that's because they essentially were like, "Yeah, we're not going to trade away players because we're not getting more draft capital for a team that we don't know who's going to be the next GM. You're not making deals for the team anymore because you're getting fired, Trent."
There you go.
At least that's the rumors I heard. And I need them to
insiders.
be true. I need them to be true because if I have to do Trent Bulky on my team again this summer, I'm going to hurt somebody. I'm going to hurt somebody with this Biscoff cookie
Please
butter
don't let it be me.
that's still in the pod room. I keep
It's been your
opening
good
it
luck
just to
charm,
smell
I
it.
feel like.
I don't know what luck you're talking about.
It's a good
I just
point.
like the way it smells. It smells good.
All right, so we need to invent non-squeaky office chairs and a candle that smells like that Biscoff butter. We'll work on that.
Cookie butter.
Cookie
Please.
butter. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, well, is that a pod, everybody?
That's a pod.
Yeah, that's a pod.
That's a pod. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening to this week's episode. We hope you have a fantastic weekend full of sports and fun. Make sure to check out our Monday episode, all of our socials. Reach out to us personally if you're having trouble finding the Discord or any of the socials. But we hope you guys have a great weekend, great rest of the week and weekend, and we'll catch you on Monday.